For Kevin, he's a very private individual, and it takes a lot to become close to Kevin. There has to be trust there, and I think it's safe to say for anybody, Greeny. And I think him and Draymond had such a close relationship that sometimes in that moment, even when you're brothers, if you cross a certain line, some things in life you just can never take back. And I think that moment happened, and it festered because Draymond was told to apologize, but didn't want to apologize. And then by the time he came to the realization that he was wrong, it was done. And they made amends, but it never seemed the same. Now, maybe it is better, but Kevin's in a different direction. And that whole team just seemed like that was the case at that given time because the media was able to get in there and parse relationships.
You were there for so much of that, and you sort of had a close-up look at a lot of things that happened, that some of which people know about now, and some of which I think still really have not fully come out.
Yeah, I was actually in the hotel room with Kevin and Rich and those guys after the injury and kind of saw that whole thing. And that's where obviously Kevin to tell, but being in that room with Bob Myers and seeing that whole situation down, I said it the next day. I was like, Kevin made the decision not to allow the team to go with him, decided to go back to New York on his own, and you felt like that was a different direction. And you also felt like who followed up with Kevin afterwards? Like Klay Thompson followed up. I'm not sure of all the other guys that followed up, but those are the little things when you build trust with teammates. And I will say this, everybody has an ego at stake. And for a lot of players, you might think we know who they are, but you don't know who they are behind closed doors and how they deal with these scenarios. And it did all come to a head. And I'm not saying that everybody was right. Everybody handled the situation the way they tried to handle it. But it was interesting to see, who's on whose side.
When you consider all the things that happen, it's really almost unprecedented for someone of his magnitude to have an injury of that magnitude under those circumstances. Where is his head now? We got to see him here yesterday. I didn't actually get a chance to talk to him off the air. Where would you describe Kevin's head as being right now?
They're locked in. I mean, he's locked in this thing with Kyrie. Sorry. Like, they're going to fight for it. And even you saw yesterday, every time something small happens with Kyrie, like that's how they're going to ride. Like I said it live on our show, it's like Mad Max. Like they're going to back each other. They're riding out together. And this whole team, they're going to get hit left and right, but that's how they're going to roll.
Joel Embiid and Karl-Anthony Towns each suspended 2 games for their actions in Wednesday night's fight. What did you think of the suspensions that were handed down?
I was okay with it. And as it relates to Ben Simmons not getting anything, I see the NBA judging intent, not optics. He's known Karl-Anthony Towns for a while, held him down to the ground to try to get him to relax. The next thing I know, Screeny, this says something about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid's relationship. Reports back in the day, it was a little bit touchy here and there. But the fact as a teammate, if I see my teammate getting into a fight and I don't like you, I don't have to enter it. I can stand there and watch. So the fact that Ben Simmons came to his teammates' help and aid, that goes to show you about where that relationship is and where that can go.
And just very quickly, because they were trying to make the argument, they being the Sixers, that he was playing a peacemaker's role. And I know the Timberwolves did not buy that. And when you see him kind of he's got Karl-Anthony Towns in a chokehold, and Cat is kind of tapping out there. Did that look like he was making peace to you?
Well, I mean, look, when you're in an intense situation, you can't come in with a rosary and say, hey, let's name the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? You have to hold a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns down who weighs 255 pounds. So Ben Simmons is a bigger guy, but he's not throwing punches. He's just really trying to get him to calm down.
And part of the NBA statement when they said that they handed down the suspensions was that the players continued to escalate following the incident. That, we believe, is in reference to some of the social media stuff that came out from both guys after the game last night. And we talked about that on our show yesterday. What did you think of the way the NBA handled that part of it?
I think it's smart. I think that the NBA is always thinking about what their appeal is to younger kids. That's the demo, Gen Zs, that they want to follow. And this doesn't set a great example for that.
It was fascinating to me. It was such a good discussion we had here. It actually carried over to my house yesterday, talking with my wife and my teenage son about the kind of language. Just, we live in a different world than I grew up in. This kind of language would not have been acceptable in this public of a place as recently as 10 years ago. But I think a lot of that has changed.
But I have to say this, that's on brand with Joel Embiid. That's who Joel Embiid is. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.